Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Okay. All right, welcome back. Another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We have 6 Milwaukee Brewer games to talk about today. Talk about some of the other stuff going on outside the team. We have some good information and some good conversations on that as well. And then today we have part 2 of our Milwaukee Bucks offseason coverage. Today we are going to cover the Milwaukee Bucks financial situations. So we're going to go through all of the current contracts, the free agents, the player options, and then we're also going to discuss where they stand with draft picks. So stick around for that as well. Let's hop into the intro and we'll start talking baseball.
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Wisco Fanatics is brought to you by Cardboard Legacy, Wisconsin's most complete sports card shop. Buy, sell, grade, and consign all at their location in Oshkosh.
Alrighty, so we have 2 series. We have 6 games to discuss. We're going to discuss the Brewers against the Twins. All 6 of these games were at home. So starting with the Brewers-Twins game 1, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not have a ton of takeaways from the Brewers 3-0 loss. Chad Patrick got kind of in trouble early, gave up 3 runs in the first 2 innings. But I do give him credit for getting through 6 innings after having kind of a rough start to the first 2 innings. Honestly, and then on the other side of it, just the Brewers batting, obviously you can't win scoring 0, but 16 strikeouts to 1 walk. This is something we just talked about last week. I mentioned it. Guys got to be more patient. You can't have havoc on the bases when you don't get on base. And then, when you're not putting the ball in play, when you do have guys on base, even with all of that being the case, going into this series with the Twins, the Brewers were still number 1 in stolen bases. So the Brewers just got to get guys on base and start running. So give me your thoughts from the Twins game 1.
I absolutely love your point about Patrick going 6 innings. We need every once in a while, as I get tied up on my words here, it would be nice if we had a starter that could go 7 innings, once a week. That would be pretty nice. Save the bullpen a little bit. The bullpen is just getting destroyed over this last week. They actually don't have a day off until next week, Thursday, so a week from tomorrow. So it's going to be – it's nice that they get to play the Pirates. I'm not going to talk too much trash as the Brewers are 2 games under 500 after today's loss. But, the Pirates have always been a struggling franchise as long as I've been alive, so it'll be nice to get to play them. But in terms of this loss here, you brought it up to 16 Ks and 1 walk. I added in the 5 hits, right? So I wanted to do it for both teams. So the Twins had 9 hits and 1 walk. 8 of their 9 hits were singles. So it's not saying that you can't, score by hitting just singles. They just got a lot of people on base, which is something that we've talked about.
Yep.
And 4 of the 5 Brewers hits were singles as well. They just didn't stack them like you've talked about in the past, like I've been trying to bring up more. Yep. So really, when you think about it, the Brewers had 6 guys get on base to 16 Ks. The Twins had 10 guys get on base to 5 Ks. So, that's a big difference right there. Obviously, holding the Twins to 3 runs, you're not getting killed. You give yourself a chance to win, but you don't give yourself a chance to win when you strike out as much as you do. And I actually wrote down some more stuff here. In the second inning, Brewers 3 Ks, third 3 Ks, fourth. They started the 4th inning with Yelly getting hit by pitch. So he got on base to start that inning. 0 hits after that, 1 K. 5th inning, 0 hits. 6th inning, Contreras got a double. They still had a strikeout in that inning. 7th inning, Frelick and Bowers both had a single. Still 3 Ks in that inning, scattered in between that. The 8th inning, Contreras had another hit, a single. They had 2 Ks. In the 9th, they had 2 Ks. 7 of the final 9 outs in this game were strikeouts. That's gross. You're not giving yourself a chance. And this is obviously when the Brewers were in a big funk. You can fast forward to today where bats are swinging a little bit better, but you still got to go over this stuff. And this is the kind of stuff that they got to deal with, inside the locker room, when they're having closed door meetings, they're talking about this kind of stuff. So just wanted to shed a little bit of light on it. Also give a shout out to Tyler Alexander, 2 scoreless innings again. So good for him.
Yeah, in game 2, honestly, not a huge difference. Looking at it in this thing too, the Brewers 2 batters into game 2, and the Brewers are playing from behind. After this game, the Brewers lost. The Brewers are now 1-17 through the second game of the Twins series when playing from behind. It's basically just death by 7 cuts. The Twins scored 7 runs, all single inning, 1-run tallies in single innings.
Yep.
It's not even that the Twins didn't even really do a whole lot. They just scored 1 run 7 times. And I will say Tobias Myers was tighter to the zone. Didn't have any walks, which is good, but also put a lot of four-seam fastballs and sliders in the middle of the plate in the lower third of the zone.
Yeah.
He gave up 11 hits, which is as many outs as he recorded. I'm by no means out on Tobias Myers. What he showed last year was phenomenal, but we need to acknowledge that the front office just might know what they're doing when we're talking about guys getting sent down. Now, Tobias Myers was sent down, brought back up to fill in for Jose Quintana, sent back down after that game, and he will be back. He's just got to work on hitting the edges and corners while not missing too wide or getting too much of the plate. That is what command is.
Mm-hmm.
So Tobias Myers just needs to rein in his command a little bit. And Rob Zestrizny, welcome back. So that's what I took away from game 2. Reggie, welcome back to you as well. So what did you take away from Brewers Twins game 2?
Yeah, what's up, Reggie? I made a mistake. I wanted to start my section by giving a shout out to our OG fan, Tim Rossing. He was actually in a really terrible bike accident, laid up in the hospital. So just wanted to say we're thinking about you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're hearing both of our beautiful voices talk about some Brewers games here, and get better soon, man. In terms of this Brewers 7-0 loss, obviously getting shut out 2 games in a row, morale's not going to be super high. I love your analogy that you brought up, and the first thing that I'm going to with the death by 7 cuts, I love that. I just wanted to point something out first. Coming into this series, the Brewers obviously, avoiding the sweep, winning that last game last Sunday, and they come in there, and Murph in that press conference after the win was talking about players not playing with confidence. He's been talking about it quite a bit actually this year. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to know what a team not playing with confidence and a team that's playing with confidence, and the Twins, this was their 13th straight win in a row.
Yep.
Go look at how they are standing in the batter's box. There is a very obvious distinction in demeanor in every batter that went up there.
Taking it a step further, look at what their bullpen's doing.
Yeah.
Like they're shotgunning Red Bulls with each other, obviously having fun. Like, have some fun. That's what makes the Brewers fun is having fun. Dan, welcome back.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out because it's almost like Murph knows what he's talking about, right? Talking about guys getting their confidence back and loosening up a little bit. Now, I wrote it down because I was like, we got to talk about it. You talked about the hits and the runs. First inning, they had 2 hits, scored a run. Second inning, 2 hits, scored a run. Third inning, 4 hits, they scored a run. Fourth inning, 3 hits, scored a run. Fifth inning, 1 hit, scored a run. Sixth inning, 1 hit, scored a run. In the 7th and 8th inning, they had hits. They didn't score in those innings. In the 9th inning, they had 3 hits, scored another run. So they were just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Everybody batting, everybody getting on base. It was an assembly line, basically, is the analogy that I came up with, of just guys just going up there, doing their job and getting on base and trusting that the guy behind them is going to get a hit. And that reminded me a lot of how the Brewers were last year at times. Now there's obviously some guys struggling. I'm foreshadowing for my boy Tyler. But we're gonna get to that later. Also, the Brewers did do a nice job on Sunday, kind of piecing the game together. So we'll get into that third game here.
All right, so it was good to see Freddie Peralta kind of got a little bit of an awkward landing in the 4th inning. It was good to see him come back for the 5th inning after the trainer came out in the 4th, and Abner Uribe was warming up. He did finish the 5th after a 26th pitch 4th inning, allowed 1 run, naturally on a solo home run. It's kind of just what he does. But 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 hit by pitches. One of them was very soft, like barely touched the guy. And then a lot of early traffic, brief injury concern. I think that's what kept him from going longer in this game. He did throw 90 pitches, which is a little bit lower than that. But Tyler said the Twins have been hotter than Megan Fox in 2010. Knew it was going to be a tough series. Just glad they got one out of it. Yeah, and like Jake said, Twins had a 13-game winning streak. The Brewers snapped it with their 3rd straight Little League World Series. That's the 3rd series in a row where they went LLW. So,
God damn it, that's at our expense, but I like it. Damn it.
I just thought it was funny. I wrote down LLW, and I'm like, oh, Little League World Series. Okay. So the Brewers, Jared Koenig still struggling a little bit. Nick Mears almost gave up a game-tying hit, home run, except for Jackson Churio said no. Yep. I would have loved it if he gave the Lorenzo Cain finger wag. That would have been good for the vibes.
That would have been good for the vibes.
Still good. Trevor McGill looked like his dominant self in this game. The Brewers, the 4 through 7 hitters, had all 5 of the hits. William Contreras had 2. Yelich and Rhys Hoskins had walks all in a row. That started the scoring. The Brewers cut the strikeouts down to 7 and only 4 from the 2nd through the 8th innings. So they struck out bottom of the 1st. All 3 outs were strikeouts. Only struck out 4 more times for the rest of the game. So that's good to see them cut the strikeouts down. But what stuck out to you from Game 3?
Yeah, Hoskins, Collins, and Frelick. Hoskins and Collins is a pretty hot topic. Twins tried to avoid Hoskins, and Collins made him pay for it later in the game with a 2-out RBI. He had 2 of them. Both of his RBIs were 2 outs. Frelick also added to the 2-out RBI parade. So that's a really good thing. And the main thing I took away from this game is the Brewers showed heart. Something that people have been questioning this entire year. They've been laying down, oh, they're not hitting, they're not doing this, that, whatever. You can say a million things. And now people apparently on ESPN radio want to trade Jackson Churio, which is just that's got to be one of the top 5 dumbest things I think I've ever heard. Yeah, and when you contextually break it down, it's really stupid. Like, we're going to trade a 21-year-old that we have locked up for 10 years, but whatever. They showed heart, and they showed a want to win, so love that. Crazy home run robbery from Churio. He said it was his first ever. I don't know if I believe him. This guy's been athletic like this for 10 plus years of his life. He's had to have had one in his actual Little League World Series. But I'm glad you brought up the strikeouts and hits. The Brewers hits and walks combined to be 9, which was greater than their strikeouts. That's great. The Twins had 7 if you combine their walks and strikeouts, and they had 9 Ks. So might be a correlation there. Makes a lot of sense. In total for the series, the Brewers had 13 hits and 8 walks. That's 21 base runners, 33 strikeouts. The Twins had 33 hits, 18 in the second game helps that number pump up a lot, and 4 walks. So 37 base runners and 24 Ks. So, I mean,
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Obviously, you could tell which team was on a win streak and which team was struggling, but like I said, they showed some heart, and I think that it jump-started them into this Orioles series. Obviously, Orioles struggling too, so good to have a struggling team come to your place when you're also struggling. So, you want me just to keep going? I'll just
keep going.
Quick. So, Brewers, they showed some heart in this game as well. Big Z started this one. Welcome back. Started this game. Clean first inning, 2 Ks. He looked pretty good up there, actually. I honestly would not have been mad if they put him out there for the second inning, but I understand why they did the first inning. 2 left-handed hitters makes sense. Quinn Priester, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 earned, 2 Ks. He gets in trouble a little bit. Like, his psyche just flips so badly when he gets a walk or he gives up a base hit. It's like he's it's almost like what they say about Sam Darnold, where Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts. Like all of a sudden he starts getting hit and Sam Darnold starts getting all frantic. I feel like Priester, it's all mental because he has the stuff. And when he's going. Now, I understand that the Orioles were hitting him pretty hard, but the Brewers defense was set up really nicely where they were defending everything perfectly.
Uh-huh.
Now, Nick Mears comes in this game when Priester left a couple on base to allow a 3-run homer. I'm just going to say this. He is human.
Yeah. I literally wrote Mears is human in my notes.
He literally was damn near perfect this entire year. This is his second blown opportunity. So having 2 with as many opportunities as he's been put in is insane. That in baseball is a number of odds and chances and
math.
So for him to have only 2 and the number of inherited runners that he has taken in, I'll take that all day.
Yep.
So it's okay. Koenig came in, had his back. Brewers got out of it. Abner Uribe, dude. Abner Uribe.
I have so many numbers on Abner Uribe when we finish talking about these games.
First of all, coolest Selly in the game. I don't care what anybody says. Coolest Selly in the game. 3 Ks. He's just I got some stuff on Abner Uribe. So Uribe, Ortiz, who pinch run for Hoskins, goes to shortstop. Monasterio goes to first base. Now, Mountcastle on a slider. His 3 Ks, he got 2 on the slider, 1 with gas. Mountcastle, he got on a slider. There was 2 on, 1 out, and O'Hearn was up. And he threw a slider that fell perfectly in the zone. Do you understand the ball sack it takes to throw that? Now, it helps when you can throw 101 and just gas it by you, right?
Yep.
But I wanted to bring this up because you bring up a point all the time about it. When he's throwing a slider and he's hitting a slider for strikes, it makes that fastball look even better. He planted that son of a bitch with 1 out and 2 on, dude. That's crazy. And then the next batter, they got Ramon Urias. He got a 100-mile-an-hour gasser, pretty much the same spot as the slider was the batter before, but this one's a little bit faster and it still moves away from you. So, I mean, he threw 9 sliders in this game, 9 strikes.
Yeah, love that.
With a strike, dude.
Love that.
Trevor McGill was also awesome. Brewers were getting extra base hits. Frelick, he was stranded, although he had a triple. Hoskins had a double, his 8th of the year. Contreras had 2 doubles. He's up to 6 now in the year. This was Contreras' first game this year with multiple extra base hits. And Terang got a double, so 5 extra base hits for the Brewers. It's crazy what happens. You can score runs when you get extra base hits. Although some of these guys were stranded, but you're getting guys out there and you're putting pressure on the other team. So all around, good win.
Yeah. You mentioned the Brewers opening with Rob Zastryzny. That is due in part to Quinn Priester having some pretty shocking splits by inning.
Yeah.
So you look at his first inning, his splits. He has a 2.84 ERA. His second inning, 12.38.
Wow.
Is his ERA in the second inning. In the third inning, it's 2.25. In the fourth inning, it's 2.25. In the fifth inning, it's 1.29. And in the sixth inning, it's 0.
Interesting.
Going into this game. Now, it's obviously going to change because he had the 3 earned runs charged to him today. But by using Zastryzny for the first, Quinn Priester's second inning, which ended up being the third inning, was versus the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. He gave up a solo home run to those 3 guys. But like we say with Freddie Peralta, you don't get hurt as bad on solo shots because you're not giving it up when you have traffic. Obviously, we saw today's game, the 3-run home runs, those are kind of backbreakers. So, if you limit them to when guys are on, bases empty situations, they don't hurt as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he gave up a walk and a double with 1 out in the 7th, possibly, I think, a little on edge because the batter before that walk, he had a screaming liner hit like right here. So that, I'm not saying that it's,
it's a possibility.
A fear thing, something like that. I'm just saying it's possible, just being a little on edge after having a 100-mile-an-hour off the bat line drive hit right at you.
That makes sense to me.
It messes with your tempo, messes with your rhythm a little bit. Just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that's an excuse, or I'm not saying that's exactly why he gave up a walk and a double, but just throwing it out there as a potential contextual thing. Now, he did, like you said, finish 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 3 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, and 2 of those runs were inherited runners for Nick Mears that scored on the home run. I will say this. You already mentioned that Nick Mears is human, but I respect Cedric Mullins. I actually really like Cedric Mullins. I think he's a really good baseball player.
Yeah, he was a 30 for 30 guy at one time, right?
That was in 2023, I think.
Was it?
Last year he was hurt a lot, so I think that was 2023.
Okay.
But yeah, he's a good baseball player.
Yeah.
So, there's that. And Mears gave him a middle fastball. Can't do it. We'll talk today about how that went when you leave fastballs in certain spots. But Nick Mears still deserves leverage. In my mind, he should be pitching the 7th, Abner Uribe pitching the 8th, and Trevor McGill pitching the 9th. Now, that said, the Brewers still got to capitalize. You have to capitalize on leadoff extra base hits. William Contreras in the bottom of the 3rd had a leadoff double, and the bottom of the 6th, Al Frelick had a leadoff triple, and Caleb Durbin was on 2nd with 1 out. So the Brewers had 2nd, 3rd with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th, and they were stranded. Got to capitalize on those opportunities.
Yeah.
William Contreras, however, had himself a day. He was 4 for 4 with a walk. He seems to be figuring it out his last 6 games. He has 3 multi-hit games and raised his batting average from 224 to 258. So that's up 34 points in 6 games. Also in those 3 multi-hit games, 4 doubles. So seems to be that William Contreras is figuring it out. So Brent Priester, 3 pretty good outings in a row. Nick Mears is human. Got to capitalize on leadoffs. This was the Brewers' 2nd win when playing from behind, and they were 20-5 following this game when they scored 4+ runs. So pretty solid win, like you said. Going into last night's game was just another great baseball game. Logan Henderson started off great. He had 7 whiffs in the 1st inning.
Yeah. 2
strikeouts out of those 3 outs that he got. He threw some really great changeups, and his fastball is also really good. Going through the 2nd time of the order, he started using his cutter a little bit more. And to your point, you said this last week that you feel that starters for sure need to have a good changeup to be successful for an extended period of time in Major League Baseball. And I think Logan Henderson is a great example of that. Freddie Peralta, I would also throw in there. They've been working on Freddie Peralta's changeup a lot over the last 2 years. We talked about it a lot last year. The 2nd inning of last night's game, Logan Henderson threw a changeup that made Laureano swing the bat literally out of his hands. In the 4th inning, he got Rutschman whiffing down to 1 knee. And the first hit that he allowed was an infield single that was almost a Caleb Durbin web gem. Like I said, the 2nd time through the order, he started mixing in the cutter, threw a few sliders, but through 3 starts, 16 innings pitched, 9 hits, 23 strikeouts. It's the 2nd most through the first 3 starts in Brewers history. Freddie Peralta's number 1. 4 walks, 3 earned runs. He is the first Brewer to win his first career 3 starts and the 7th player since 1901 to win their first 3 career starts. Any good things you can say about Logan Henderson, they're true. I said it to a coworker today. I'm like, it's still crazy that less than a year ago, we were covering him making a start for the Timber Rattlers. Less than a year ago.
Yeah, in 10 days, it'll be a year ago.
10 days, it'll be a year. So 355 days ago, he was making a start for the Timber Rattlers at High A. And now he's got 3 starts for the Brewers.
3 wins.
3 wins for the Brewers.
That is crazy, dude. I was thinking that last night when he was throwing fastball.
It's
like, Jesus.
Awesome. 16 out of 19 batters faced had 2 strikes on them, had a 2-strike count. He's filling up the strike zone.
Oh, yeah.
The Brewers offense scored all their runs except for the last one on the home run, but only went 1-2-3 once. So that's something where we're talking about staffing traffic. 5 out of the 7 innings that they didn't go 1-2-3, they had multiple base runners. So love that. Get guys on base. Like I said, get traffic, create chaos. That's what the Brewers do.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out to Isaac Collins. He's been hitting the ball hard lately. I like what I'm seeing from him. Last 2 things. The Brewers in this game became 21-5 when scoring 4+ runs. And I love that Pat Murphy gave Abner Uribe the 9th inning. The 9th inning that Abner Uribe threw last night was electric. It was awesome. He got a strikeout looking on an 8-pitch at bat and then 2 swinging strikeouts. It was awesome. Abner Uribe is the closer of the future for the Brewers, but right now he's their 8th inning setup guy and their backup closer. He looks fantastic.
Yeah, that first strikeout you're talking about, I'm just going to start with Abner Uribe. His first save this year, he had 3 saves last year for the Brewers. So that first strikeout looking 100 miles an hour, he clearly had it over the plate. I don't even, was Mullins the one batting when he struck out? I don't remember, but I know
I don't remember who was batting either.
But he just stood there and he was just kind of like, damn, bro. And Uribe turned around because he knew it too. Like he threw it. He basically did like what Steph Curry does when he shoots a 3-pointer. He threw it and he was like, that one felt good. So
that's fair.
The swag, just disgusting. Over his last 8 innings pitched, Uribe has 21 strikeouts, dude. 21 of the 24
outs. That's 24 outs.
Yeah. 21 of the last 24 hours are fucking strikeouts, dude. That is sick.
That's stupid.
Oh my god. When I heard that, I was
like, you're gonna love all the numbers I have on him.
I was like, no, that's not okay. I mean, it's okay for us, but like not for you.
It's awesome for us.
It's a bad day if you see Abner Uribe come in if you're the other team.
It's bad for the rest of baseball.
Yeah. Koenig got his 7th hold of the year, so 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, 1 K, so he did his job. Piamps starting to get rocky again.
Yeah, we'll talk about him when we get to today's game.
We'll talk about him.
Yep.
Alexander, I mean, he gave a couple hits and an earned run. It is what it is. But Henderson, you gave most of the stats on him. He had 20 swings and misses. That is the most by a Milwaukee pitcher this year. Yeah, 20. I believe what I saw was 9 of them were on the changeup. So makes sense. I also saw a stat that his 7 of his final 9 outs were on the fastball, and 6 of his first 9 outs that he recorded were on the changeup. So he was mixing it up beautifully. In terms of how the Brewers scored, so Terang started things off with a home run. That was the first homer that a Brewers team had at home since May 7th. 146 consecutive at-bats without a homer. Also, Terang's first home run since the Brewers played Colorado, and he went Oppo Taco, so that's a good thing. Terang definitely has power to go opposite field. He's been really good this entire year. And now we get to Sal Frelick. Sal Frelick absolutely fucking unleashes on a baseball, dude. Just unleashes all the demons of him flying out to the warning track. And I got to give you credit because we were texting about it. We're both like, dude, he's so close. He's so close, dude. And you actually corrected me on something I said wrong about how many flyouts he had to the warning track. But then the next at-bat, like I said, dude, just uncorks on a baseball.
Farthest home run by distance in his career.
Yeah, that was sick, dude. Upper deck, I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. We are so back. The summer of Sal might still be on schedule. In terms of Rhys Hoskins, another opposite field home run. He was a little late, but I think that's where the torpedo bat makes up for some of that stuff. If you're a little bit late, you can still hit it 100 miles an hour off the bat. Also, being really big and strong helps as well.
That helps.
So Rhys Hoskins, great job. He's been way better than advertised. I almost feel like all the people that are talking shit about Yelich right now are the ones that were talking shit about Rhys and need to apologize to Rhys before they talk shit about Yelich.
Guaranteed.
So he's been really, really good. It's the first game with 3+ homers for the Brewers since April 16th. So that's a good thing. Get that monkey off our back. We've been hitting the ball harder the first 2 games in the series. Lots of extra base hits, doubles, home runs, triples. Love that. Brewers, 7 hits, 7 walks, 6 Ks. You're talking a 14-6 ratio. That's good. In terms of the Orioles, they had 8 hits, 2 walks. That's 10 to 13 Ks. So there literally is a direct correlation to just.
You know what? That could be like a plus minus thing. That could be baseball's plus minus.
It really could.
Strikeouts.
Really good. You know what? I think I'm just gonna track it from now on. I'm just gonna track the plus minus. I like doing that. It's easy to track. You literally can just look it up. So I like it.
And it would be runners on base, because it's like unless you're gonna add hit by pitches to it. But that's, to me, more on the pitcher than the batter. Like, yes, some guys get hit more than others, but it's not necessarily anything that the batter does. It's more based on where they're standing, so that's more of like the pitcher's thing.
I mean, the getting on base by getting hit by a pitch is like a basketball player, like a guy passing the ball and it bounces off the guy's head and goes in the basket and they get 2 points. It's like you got lucky.
Yeah, like walks and hits is more getting on base.
Yeah, I agree.
Hit by pitches, in my opinion.
I agree.
Okay. So I did pull it up. Logan Henderson, the 20 whiffs that he had, 8 on the changeup, 9 on the fastball, 3 on the cutter.
Oh, okay. I hit it wrong. My bad.
How dare you? You were off on 8 and 9. How dare you?
I was. Well, good thing you're
one.
here.
Unacceptable. You're fired.
Oh.
So then we get to today's game. Now, Chad Patrick, his cutter looked good first time through the order. He did allow a 2-out base run in the first 2 innings. Then versus lefties as the game went on, his cutter started kind of drifting outside. And he got into a first and third situation. Nobody out after a run came in and got 2 strikeouts and a fly out. So good job to finish that inning, only having given up 1 run. He was pulled after 4 2/3, but that was to face Gunnar Henderson, who has very bad splits versus lefties. Yeah, Dorian Logan was awesome last night. I can't wait to see him pitch again. And Gunnar Henderson had also already been on base twice versus Chad Patrick in this game. So that's why he was pulled for Zastryzny. Zastryzny promptly struck him out, and then Zastryzny gave up 2 singles in the 6th inning, and Grant Anderson came out and got 2 groundouts. So kind of guys just picking each other up for the bigger part of the front half of this game. And then we get to Yoel Payamps, who had a guy down 0-2 and gave up a single and then gave up a double. And my thing with this is, and I said this to you, is just flip Mears and Payamps.
Yep.
Because it's not that I don't trust Yoel Payamps to pitch in games. I would just prefer just getting him in the games a little bit earlier. Take a little bit of pressure off of him, and not saying again that I don't trust him, but just taking a little bit of leverage away from him. So far this season, Mears has earned the leverage.
Yes.
So I would like to see Payamps before Mears, but if we're talking about the double that Payamps gave up, it came on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that was in the middle of the plate in the lower third of the strike zone.
Yeah.
And what I said to you is that pitch has to be like 3 inches lower, like a little bit below the zone, or the only thing you can do is beat it into the ground.
Yep.
Or it needs to be on one of the corners or the edges, or it needs to be like 3 inches above the strike zone if you're going to throw it in the middle of the plate. That's where you can throw 96-mile-an-hour straight fastballs.
I mean, there's a lot of places you can throw it, just not over the heart of the plate.
Not over the heart of the plate in the middle of the strike zone.
Yeah.
If you're going to put it in the strike zone, it has to be on the corner or the edge.
Yeah.
If you're going to throw it down the middle of the plate, it has to be high or low.
Agreed.
Now, a guy like Abner Uribe can get away with it because he throws 101 with movement on his pitches.
Yes.
Trevor McGill throws 99 to 100 miles an hour. He can't get away with putting fastballs in the middle of the plate inside the strike zone.
Agreed.
So, again, I'm not saying Payamps needs to be DFA'd or anything like that. Just pitch him earlier in the games. Let him handle some of that leverage. Obviously, Abner Uribe is ready for every situation that you can put him in.
Yeah.
He didn't pitch today because he had pitched the previous 3 games, so McGill did pitch today. But I want to give a shout-out to Caleb Durbin. In the top of the 5th, he had a 1-out leadoff double. And Joey Ortiz, and this isn't coming from Joey Ortiz. I'm positive that it's not. It's a strategic thing that the Brewers are having Joey Ortiz bunting. I don't like bunting. If it was the bottom of the 10th and it was a tie game and we only need 1 run, sure. But Caleb Durbin's going to score on any base hit. Caleb Durbin literally scored on the next batter, grounding out to the pitcher. That's why I hate making outs on purpose. Like, Caleb Durbin literally scored on a ball that traveled 20 feet. Why are we making outs on purpose? And not only that, the out that Joey Ortiz made, Durbin couldn't go anywhere. So now you've literally just given the Orioles an out for no reason. And Durbin has speed. He showed it by literally scoring on the next play, which was like ground out.
Yeah.
Stop making outs on purpose, please.
Yeah.
It's just one thing that I can't wrap my head around. when you need to score more than one run. Because, again, if the Brewers had put up, say Joey Ortiz gets on base in that situation and Turang hits that tapper, they try to throw the third. Like, there's still another guy on base.
True.
And especially a guy who's in a slump, like essentially taking the bat out of his hands by asking him to do something he doesn't normally do. It's not like they were asking Bryce Turang to bunt in that situation. They're asking Joey Ortiz, who does not bunt often. So it's not a skill set that he's super strong in, and he showed it by popping it up. Like, stop making outs on purpose. Unfortunately, it's kind of harsh to say, but Joey Ortiz is making enough outs right now the way it is to then ask him to make one on purpose. I don't like sacrifice bunting. I don't like it, clearly. But Durbin again, bottom of the ninth, came up clutch, tied the game with a single. He had 2 strikes on him versus Felix Bautista, who's a pretty good closer. Churio had the clutch hit in the bottom of the 10th. The Brewers just couldn't get it done in 11. The bullpen, like you said, ran very thin. Brewers 2-18 when their opponent scores first. So Brewers need to score first. They need to score 4+. That's the recipe to win. So what did you take away from today's game?
Yeah. The bullpen already being thin. McGill comes in late, right after the newly acquired Easton McGee, which I thought Easton McGee looked pretty good. He's a big guy, 6'7", 215. He was throwing strikes. So I thought he looked good. Wanted to give him credit. Wanted to give McGill, even though he did give up a run. I mean,
it's an unearned run because it's the place runner.
The leadoff guy.
So it's unearned.
Big Z looked good. Anderson looked good. In terms of scoring, obviously, Hoskins had another big-time home run today. So this goes back to the point of just because the Brewers ended up losing doesn't mean that the big moment didn't happen.
True. Now, several big moments.
Yeah. In the second game of this series, Hoskins' home run came in the 8th inning, and it was a big-time run because the Orioles just cut the lead in half. They cut it from 4-0 to 4-2, and he made it 5-2. In terms of this one, gave the Brewers the lead. Hoskins, Turang, Churio, and Durbin. Really big for Churio and Durbin to get on the RBI train. Huge for Durbin. I was so happy for him when he got the hit. I was like, dude, that has to feel so fucking good for him, dude. And obviously his celebration out of the box, it felt pretty good.
Yeah.
So pretty good there. Obviously, Brewers struggled. Runners in scoring position 2 for 13. So,
what do we say? What do we say though?
It's. I was going to say, it's great that the second number is great. I love that. We've had games where we have 2 and 3 and 3 and 3 in consecutive games. They got 13. That's a good sign. And that's after. And they were still hitting the ball hard in this game too, because Durbin also had a double, his 4th of the year.
Yep.
You go into this whole series, the Brewers are hitting the ball harder, and that's going to be a trend that has to continue for them to win ball games. So that's all I got.
I want to show you real quick just what Rhys Hoskins' Baseball Savant page looks like, because that is a lot of red.
Yeah.
To be in the 99th percentile of sweet spot percentage, that essentially means that nobody's hitting the sweet spot more than Rhys Hoskins. And if he's not in the 100th percentile, I'm willing to bet that out of very few people that are actually higher than him, that Aaron Judge is probably one of the only ones.
I can see that.
To see his chase percentage being in the 94th percentile, that is great. To see his walk percentage up, that is great. To his batting run value being in the 90th percentile, it's literally marked as great on their page. It's awesome to see what Rhys Hoskins is doing. Look at him in the month of May. Batting .317, 400 on base percentage, a .583 slug, a .983 OPS. I mean, he has 19 hits, 18 strikeouts, 9 walks. He's batted in 13 runs. He's got 7 doubles and 3 homers. So, I mean,
he's doing his thing.
Is having a fantastic month of May.
Yeah, he's doing his thing, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's not even to scoff at the fact that he batted .303 in April.
Yeah.
So, Rhys Hoskins doing great things. The Brewers, they play 7 games between today and next Wednesday. They play 4 at the Pirates, and then they're back home to play 3 against the Red Sox. Now, Jake kind of mentioned this, and talking about fixing some of the Brewers hitters. So I looked at Jackson Chourio, Joey Ortiz, Caleb Durbin, and Christian Yelich, and trying to kind of analyze and figure out what they're struggling with, what their potential solutions are. Now, Jackson Chourio, his numbers are kind of interesting. So Jackson Chourio is batting .333 versus left-handed pitchers.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
And 194 versus righties. And my thing with him is he needs to practice laying off outside breaking away pitches, especially off-speed pitches, especially sweepers.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's batting very, very low against sweepers. I believe he's batting 111 against sweepers, which are the pitches that are breaking away from him the most. His pop-up percentage in 2024 was 3.7. In 2025, it's 10.6. So his pop-ups are about 7% up. The splitter is the only pitch that he has a positive run value on from 2025 to 2024. His batting average against fastballs is down about 57 points. So some opportunity for him to succeed against fastballs better. Looking at splitters, he's batting .444 against them in 2025. He batted .250 against them in 2024. So he's doing well against splitters, but a lot of opportunity everywhere else. His chase percentage in 2024 was 34.9. In 2025, it's 41.1. So his chase percentage is up about 6%. So he's just one of the guys that needs to be a little bit more patient. 333 versus curveballs. He was batting .250 against them in 2024, so he's batting better against curveballs. He's batting .245 against sinkers. He batted .225 against them in 2024. So there's opportunities for Chourio to just get back to hitting well against fastballs and lay off against sweepers breaking away. That's really it.
Honestly, when you watch him bat, dude, and the guy gets ahead of him with a fastball, and you know that a breaking pitch going away from him is coming, and you're literally yelling at your TV like, Jackson, put the fucking bat on your shoulder and leave it there.
Yeah.
If he places that son of a bitch for a strike, then good for him.
Yeah.
But they're gonna throw it so far outside to see how far they can get you out there.
Yeah, they're gonna throw one that starts in the middle of the plate and ends up 6 inches outside.
Yeah. So lay off that outside shit.
Yep. Wait for another fastball. Just sit fastball. Shit, I don't care.
Yeah.
And if you see a splitter, hammer it because you're already doing that.
Agreed.
Joey Ortiz, he only has a 2.4 barrel percentage and a 3.2% of solid contact. That to me is a timing and mechanics thing. Just got to get the barrel of the bat on the ball.
Yeah.
So whether it means taking a step away from the plate or a step towards the plate, whether you're trying to pull the ball or not, that's the timing thing. And then his chase percentage is up 6.4%. He's still making the same amount of contact on chasing, so that's not a huge deal. And his first pitch swing percentage is up 13.9% from last year. So Joey Ortiz, pump the brakes a little.
No.
Have a little patience. Now, Caleb Durbin, I think, is the guy that I have the least amount of concern for out of these 4 guys because he's in the 86th percentile for chasing. He's in the 96th percentile for whiffs. He almost never swings and misses. He's in the 97th percentile for strikeout percentage, so he's not striking out. He has above average airtime on pulled balls. Like I said this last week, I said this to you. He's showing some pop. He's had some deep flyouts. He's had some really long, loud fly balls. Looking at him, he's batting 154 versus fastballs. His expected batting average is 230. He's batting 143 against sliders. His expected batting average is 215. So I think there's a little bit of bad luck also in there.
Yeah.
His zone swing percentage is 60%, and the league average is 67. His zone contact percentage is 88.6. The league average is 82.1. So honestly, looking at everything that Caleb Durbin is doing, I'd tell him to swing more.
Yeah.
Swing more, bro. Like you're making contact, you're not striking out, and you're seeing pitches in the zone, and you're making contact. Like, swing more, dude.
Him and Joey need to switch.
Exactly. Durbin needs to swing more. Ortiz needs to swing a little less.
Agreed.
Yeah. Then Christian Yelich. So Christian Yelich going into today was batting 190 with a 283 on base, 333 slug, 616 OPS. Batting 177 versus fastballs, 164 versus breaking pitches, batting 353 versus off-speed stuff. So better there. He's in the 78th percentile for hard hits, but in the 13th percentile, that means 87% of batters are squaring up the ball more than he is, though he's hitting the ball harder than 78% of baseball. So that, to me, says that he needs to just take his bat path down like an inch or two, so that he's squaring the ball up more, because his swing is still hitting the ball hard. So I don't think there's any problem with his swing. It's just his bat path. They'll show you like the sword thing about where the bat travels through the strike zone.
Like the tail, yeah.
Yelich has a beautiful swing. He just really has to get back to doing what he's done.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about Yelich, because his career body of work is much more productive than the first 2 months of the season have been.
Yeah. Honestly,
it's way too early to push the panic button.
Especially on a guy like Yelich, a former MVP. We're not doing that.
He was batting 315 before he was hurt last year.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. He's going to turn it around. I still expect him to get somewhere up in the 260s, 270s by the end of the year. I'm being so serious, dude. Like, he could literally just get on a heater.
260s by the All-Star break.
Yeah, he could just get on a heater, bro. He's got the pop. Obviously, he's tied for the team league with home runs. So, like you said, that's another evidence. That's more evidence that he is hitting the ball hard. And I agree. He's just rolling over everything right now. So if he just can square the ball up a little bit, start hitting he's got to speed up and get to the fastball. In my opinion, that's the first thing. Once he starts smashing the fastball, obviously you just gave numbers. He is hitting the off-speed stuff.
Yep.
He starts hitting fastballs. He's back.
He's back.
Honestly, this guy's had back surgery.
And he's never been that great at hitting off-speed stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's always been kind of susceptible to curveballs and sliders.
Yeah.
So to your point that he's getting on top of balls a lot, he has a 50% topped contact percentage. So just needs to bring that bat path down just a little bit, start squaring the ball up a little bit.
Yeah, hit the ball in the air a little bit.
Now,
I think if he hits the ball in the air, he'll feel a little bit better.
Right. Start getting some line drives instead of ground outs.
Yep.
Now, I just wrote down a handful of guys to really illustrate that Christian Yelich is not the only star in baseball that's struggling at the plate. Because it's not the case. Adley Rutschman coming into today was batting 209. He had a 633 OPS. That's 17 points higher than Yelich's. Brian Reynolds batting 206. He has a 601 OPS. That's 15 points lower than Yelich's. Ke'Bryan Hayes batting 246. Pretty solid batting average. 603 OPS. Has one home run. Christian Walker is batting 198. He has a 609 OPS. He's hit 5 home runs. Yelich has hit 7. Ozzie Albies is batting 225. He has a 619 OPS. That's 3 points higher than Yelich's. He also has 5 home runs. Yelich has 7. Carlos Correa, batting 236, has a 605 OPS, has 2 home runs this year, and he's hurt. So, like, if you look at the bottom page of qualified hitters, with more RBI, the only one is Michael Harris, who has 27. Yelich has 26. And Dylan Cruz is tied with Yelich on the bottom page of qualified hitters with 7 home runs. So, honestly, as bad as his rate stats are, he's still producing.
Yeah.
To be tied for the team leading home runs and leading the team in runs batted in, I mean, he's still productive.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I wanted to end our Brewers content on a high note. So we're going to talk about Abner Uribe.
Hell yeah, dude.
And man, are we going to talk about Abner Uribe. So he has a 1.19 ERA. He's pitched 22 and 2/3 innings. He's given up 3 earned runs. He has 32 strikeouts to 10 walks. He has a 115 whip. Now, he's in the 83rd percentile for expected ERA. He's in the 82nd percentile for expected batting average. He's in the 97th percentile for fastball velocity. He's in the 78th percentile for pitching run value. He is in the 68th percentile for fastball run value, the 82nd percentile for breaking ball run value, the 90th percentile for average exit velocity, the 94th percentile for whiff, the 93rd percentile for strikeout percentage, the 97th percentile for barrel percentage. He has a 35.3% whiff rate. That is a career high.
35.
He has a 34% chase rate. He has a 54% in the zone, which is a career high. The zone contact against him is 73.4%. The league average is 82.1. So hitters are making about 9% less contact against him than the rest of Major League Baseball. He has an 8.5%. That's, I got to pull up his page here quick. 8.5, not 85. I just want to show you what his Baseball Savant page looks like.
Yeah, it's nasty. I was just on it last night.
Dude, that's so much red.
Yeah. If you don't know, red is good on Baseball Savant.
Yeah,
website.
Baseball Savant. Yeah, red is good. So a 44.0 swing percentage. The MLB average is 47.2. The other number that I had, I wanted to remember because I don't remember what I wrote down as. Meatball. The meatball percentage. That's what it is. That's what MB is. 8.7. So his meatball percentage, essentially fastballs that he throws in the strike zone, 8.7. The league average is 7.3. And then you look at the meatball swinging percentage being 7% higher than the league average, while still having a whiff percentage that is over 10% higher than the league average. Essentially just says to me that guys are swinging less, hoping that he misses, and when they do swing, they just can't touch it.
Yeah.
You look at all of these numbers that are career highs, like the zone percentage, career high 54.2%. That goes to show his command. The zone swing percentage being 58.5 compared to the league average of 67. It's like I said, guys aren't swinging at pitches in the zone because they're just hoping that he misses the strike zone. Then the pitches, when they are swinging, the contact is, like I said, about 9%. It's 8.6% lower than the league average. So, like, even when they do swing, guys can't touch it.
Yeah.
Abner Uribe has been fantastic. He's been just fantastic.
Yeah, can't take anything away from Abner. I've been talking about it all year. He throws a lot of FU fastballs. Obviously, those numbers support that. With him throwing in the zone, with him locating that slider, dude, that fastball is it's a monster to deal with. It 101. Like, when's the last time you drove 101 in your car? Been a while. Like, yeah. My car is not in shape to drive 101. So for him to take a baseball and chuck it 101 whenever the hell he feels like it is fucking disgusting to me.
Yeah.
And then he can just completely drop off the face of the earth. If he ever gets a changeup, talking about changeups, dude. If he ever got a changeup, dude, he would be disgusting.
I mean, he throws his sliders at like 91.
Yeah. I mean, imagine him with a changeup, bro.
Dude, if you could throw a changeup at like 84, he's gonna make dudes look stupid because it's like his sinker that he throws at 101, it moves. Like Like, it's not just a straight four-seam fastball.
Yeah. Like,
imagine a changeup that moves similarly.
That
kind of breaks in on righties.
It'd be so stupid.
With a 17-mile-an-hour difference.
I don't know if people would ever touch his fastball again. I'm being so serious. Like, if he's able to develop a changeup with that slider, I don't think anybody would ever touch his fastball again. You'd be late.
Yeah.
Because you'd have one pitch that breaks all the way down. You have one pitch that looks similar, but it's 18 miles an hour slower. And then the fastball is just like, oh, can you throw it again? You know what I mean? Like,
seriously, you're in a position, if that were the case, that you either have to sit breaking ball and hope that he misses the strike zone with his slider, with his fastballs, or sit dead fastball and hope that he doesn't hit the zone with his breaking stuff. There's no scenario where you're looking at the ball coming out of his hand and being like, oh, that's what pitch is coming, and then registering to swing in time.
Yeah, especially at 101, dude.
You might be able to pick out a slider versus a changeup, but like you're not differentiating fastball and changeup if a fastball is coming in time to be able to hit 101.
And then we got Mizorowski down there in Nashville throwing 103, dude. That's just...
He threw 103 on like his 60th pitch of the day the other game.
Yeah, I was like, that's not right, dude.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of FU fastballs, damn.
Yeah, we still got some guys coming. We have some guys that are hurt, got some guys coming. So the pitching lab is alive and well in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Big piece of the future. So speaking of the future, we're going to try to get Javik Blake to talk next week, talk about Brock Wilken, who is just absolutely raking in Double-A. He's not the only one either. So we'll probably try to get him on next week, which would be awesome. Other than that, is there anything else you want to say on the Brewers?
Go take 3 out of 4 from Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we're going to switch over now. We're going to have a little bit of conversation about the Bucks. And today is part 2 of the 4-part section that we are doing on the Milwaukee Bucks and their offseason. We want to make sure that we are very thorough with this. So we are going through the 2025-2026 salary cap, where the Bucks stand with their current contracts, what they need to guarantee or release guys, their two-way situations, player options, when the decision needs to be made, and then what their free agents look like, what their cap space looks like, and then what their draft pick situation looks like. So starting with the financials, we can go through the salaries. Now, I know you have the salary numbers written down. Do you just want to throw those out there?
So first, what I wrote down is the projected salary cap for next year for the 25-26 season in the NBA is projected to have a 10% increase, which would bring it to 154.6. So then the luxury tax threshold is projected to increase from 170.8 to 187.9. So the league made money last year, even though that viewership was apparently down. So the Bucks in 24-25, this current season that we are in, where they just lost, they had the 6th most expensive roster in the NBA. In 25-26, they have the 11th most expensive roster at $227 million. And their first apron, they're at $28 million. Second apron, they're at $40 million. So we can go through all that stuff later. But in 26-27, they still have the 11th most expensive roster at $144. First apron, they're at $68. Second apron, they're at $81. So really the game plan should be, and people have wrote about this. I am totally blanking on the name of the Milwaukee guy who writes for them, who wrote a really good article.
Name?
What's that?
Eric Name?
Yep, that's his name. He wrote. Thank you for the assist. He's really good, by the way.
Yeah.
And I just want to take a sec to talk about the Giannis situation, because that's going to be the elephant in the room at all times for this offseason, no matter whether we like it or not. One, we need Giannis to stay. And I told you I was going to tell you this. We missed out on a Rodgers versus Brady Super Bowl. We missed out on a LeBron and Kobe NBA Finals. I do not want to miss out on another generational versus generational guy. I need Giannis versus Jokic. If the NBA is rigging shit, they need to rig this shit up now.
Yeah. I still think it's going to be Minnesota and New York for this year's finals, because I want to see the teams that made the big trade the offseason go against each other.
I can see that. Even after last night's loss, interesting. I they didn't need to stop with all the big city shit.
Yeah.
You have good players on teams. You
Yeah.
can still market the fuck out of that. And Giannis is international.
And that's the thing. Is like the NBA is international.
The NBA is international. Jokic doesn't want to be the face of anything, but he can't help it because he just drops 40, 10, and 10 every fucking night.
Right.
He's good. We need that in the finals. Secondly, back to Eric Name. Eric Name wrote a really, really good article. If you guys get a chance, go give that a read. Look it up on X. I'm sure he tagged it on his page. That's where I found it. He talked about next year being the year where, and you look at the lay of the land in the East. The East is going to be up for grabs. There's food out there for a superstar to eat. Giannis is that superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he want to leave? Why would he want to go west, for one? Yep. And why would he want to leave the Bucks to go start over new in Toronto, which is where I've heard, or Brooklyn, which is where I've heard, when he could literally just stay where he's at in the East where there's food to be had and you're hungry? Fucking stay home and eat, my guy. As simple as that. Seriously.
Yeah.
Let the financials come down the following year. Things start to fall in place there. You get Bobby.
Dude, even this year, like you mentioned, they're $28 million under the first apron, $40 million under the second.
Yeah,
they can re-sign Gary Trent Jr.
They can. Really could. They really could. And, dude, they could eat this year. That's all I'm saying.
And there's options. Like we talked about this. We talked about the fact that the Bucks traded for Kyle Kuzma to get Middleton off the books so that they are under the second apron.
Yep.
That allows them this summer to do 2-for-1 deals.
Yep.
Now, this week and next week, we're still just talking about team construction. We're not actually talking about potential transactions. That's going to be the following week. But the Bucks have options. They can do 2-for-1 deals. Mm-hmm. So there's player options. Bobby Portis has a player option for 13.4. Pat Connaughton has a player option for 9.4. And Kevin Porter Jr. has a player option for 2.5. All of those decisions have to be made by June 29th. The new league year starts June 30th.
Pat Connaughton's is the 24th.
Okay.
But
some of them are getting pushed back, so I don't know which ones are the 24th.
That's besides the point. Just wanted to so everybody knows.
Two-way players. Those have to also be decided by the 29th. They have Jamari Bouye and Pete Nance. I would release Bouye, keep Pete Nance.
I like Pete Nance. Pete Nance looks nice. Size.
I'll say something after I mention free agents, but AJ Green has a 2.3 non-guaranteed contract. Ajax has a 2.2 non-guaranteed contract, and Chris Livingston has a 2.2 non-guaranteed contract. Those need to be guaranteed by July 7th, and July 15th, or those players are released. I would expect those decisions to be made probably literally June 30th.
AJ Green's coming back. Welcome back, AJ.
Ajax is coming back. Chris
Ajax is coming back. Welcome back, AJ.
All three of those guys are going to be back.
Welcome back.
Now, the free agents the Bucks have: Brook Lopez, Ryan Rollins, Gary Trent Jr., and Taurean Prince. Ryan Rollins is a restricted free agent. His qualifying offer has to be decided by June 29th. Now, the reason I say keep Pete Nance is if the Bucks want to, and again, we're going to discuss this next week with the roster construction.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to go younger, more athletic in the front court at the center position specifically, and they want to essentially start Bobby Portis and have Jericho Sims as the backup, or if they want to have Bobby and Jericho Sims start, Pete Nance is a perfect backup to Jericho Sims. The long, athletic, faster centers. Mm-hmm. Those two are kind of built from the same mold. Now, Jericho Sims is more athletic because he's a freak. But Pete Nance is cut from a similar cloth, and he can shoot a little bit.
Yeah, he can definitely stretch the floor more than
Sims would.
Than Sims, but
probably not
Sims
quite.
Is literally a 2K build, dude.
If you want to get younger, going with Sims and Nance is not a bad way to go. And then you have Bobby Portis and Tyler Smith for the power forward position.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would not be totally against bringing Brook Lopez back on a 1-year deal.
I'm not opposed to it either. Like a 1-year, $10 million.
I mean, look at teams like Golden State and Lakers, which is the two main teams that are talking about bringing Brook Lopez in. There's a reason they want to bring him in. He's big. He shoots the three ball. He's a smart defender. No matter how you feel about him,
Yep.
I'd be okay bringing Brook back on a 1-year deal if he was like, listen, last ride, one time, let's go do this. Then I'm going to ride off into the sunset.
And honestly, bring him off the bench.
If you really want to, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, the conversation that we're having right now about having Bobby Portis, Tyler Smith, Jericho Sims, Pete Nance, and potentially Brook Lopez in the front court, there's a reason for that. Giannis is going to be playing a lot of point guard.
He's going to be handling the ball.
A lot.
Yep.
And that's, like you brought up the Eric Name article. The big thing on selling Giannis on 2025, 2026 while Dame is out is essentially you get to be the playmaker. Take a shot. Try to average a double-double. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Try to win an MVP. Why not?
Yeah, fuck it.
In the East, you get in, get hot. We've seen a guy like Kawhi Leonard carry a roster to a finals and then win it.
Yeah.
Why not?
And you know, people want to talk about injuries and stuff. Every single title run, they want to talk about fouling and all. Like, if you guys don't understand the clue, it's that it's hard to win a championship. First of all, it's going to be the 7th straight year that a different team is going to win the title.
Yes.
I saw people saying it was bad for the league. That is great.
No, that's parity.
That's fantastic. That's what the NFL has, and the NFL is the
exact thing that they have.
There's a reason that people were cheering as the Chiefs did not win last year.
Yeah.
I don't like Eagles fans, but I was cheering for the Eagles to win because I was like, yeah, I want a different champion. That's the whole point of this thing.
Yeah.
That somebody walks away. I don't want somebody winning 3 in a row.
No.
It's boring. Rinse and repeat. But in terms of Giannis, bro, if you just literally just be like, listen, we're going to start Brook, we're going to start Bobby, Giannis, you're going to be at the 1, you're going to handle the ball as much as you want. Look how many triple doubles he had down the stretch when we were on that 8-game win streak during the regular season.
Literally, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, try to average a double-double. Go for it.
Seriously. Go out there.
Bring back Gary Trent and just put him out there.
Just freaking huck it. And you know what? If you do get younger, if you do bring back a Pete Nance, I like that idea. If you do bring back a Pete Nance and a Sims, you're going to be faster, dude. Just go. Everybody just go. Just run.
That's
the
so
one thing I
for
take away
the
from the
next show
Pacers.
that we're going to have on this subject, because we're going to be talking about just the construction
Mm-hmm.
of staff and team, just strictly from the foundation, not actually the personnel and the transactions and stuff. I'm really excited for that part.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to say on salaries, financial? The fact that people are still saying that the Bucks have no cap space, that's just not true. It's just simply not true.
See, and we are waiting for this moment, through all the stuff with Kuzma. Could be a fit thing, could be a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
For why maybe he didn't look as good as it did. Injuries, whatever. There's a lot of things that could have happened in the grand scheme of things. The real reason we were waiting for that moment is because we knew we were going to have this conversation and tell people that the Bucks do have money. They do have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yep.
And in terms of the player options, I mean, do I expect Kevin Porter Jr. to take $2.5 million? Probably not.
I don't expect him to, but I think it's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
If you get him to buy into the fact that, hey, we don't have Dame for the first 8 months of the season, and Dame's not going to be back until like February.
Dude, if you tell him, like, listen,
you're going to be playing 26 minutes a game.
You can go out there. You could take your little paycheck right now. You can go out there. You can get your 7, 8, 9 mil. Whoever's going to give you 7, 9 mil, maybe even 10. Or you can come back to Milwaukee in a weak Eastern Conference. You could play next to Giannis, and you could absolutely eat and get back to that money that you were making in Houston.
Yeah,
that is the selling point right there.
Not to mention, he had pretty good chemistry with Jericho Sims.
He did. He actually had pretty good chemistry with Giannis at the end of the year too.
Yeah.
Pat Connaughton, that's accepted. We don't even have to wait till that day. He's taking $9 million because we can be honest here. He's not getting $9 million from anybody else.
He's not.
Bobby Portis, I expect him to be back as well, although I have heard some rumblings that he may decline his option. But
the thing is if he accepts it, he is probably going to be at the top of the trade block.
True.
Now totally possible that he could opt in. He could extend, and the Bucks say, hey, we're going to start you at center. We're going to bring Brook back. He's going to back you up.
I can see that.
Totally within the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Bobby and Pat can both opt in to their $13 and $9 million deals, and the Bucks could trade those two for one player who makes $22 million.
Yep.
Had they kept Chris Middleton and remained over the second apron, they would not be allowed to do that, and they would not have access to their 2032 pick next summer.
Yep. So
that's the flexibility that we talked about at the trade deadline. So we've been saying this to people for 3.5 months.
Yep.
That the Middleton for Kuzma deal was not about trading Chris Middleton to get Kyle Kuzma because we thought it made us a better basketball team. It made us a younger, more athletic team, and it gave us flexibility in the summer, and here we are talking about that flexibility.
It literally is giving them the option to extend the Giannis championship window. That's literally the main reason it was made.
And honestly, as much as people don't like Kyle Kuzma, the attractive part about trading for him, if the Bucks want to offer him to other teams, is the fact that he makes less money as his years go by.
Yeah.
So you can sell other teams on the fact that he's got potential to get better while costing you less. You can send that to a rebuilding team that has an aging star that they want to get rid of for a younger, more athletic player. Spoiler alert for 2 weeks from now. But, you're talking to teams that want to get younger.
Yeah.
He's going to be making less money in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So lots of options, lots of flexibility. Like the Bucks can still do some stuff.
Oh, yeah. They can still be active. And I fully expect Horst to be locked in.
And thank you for bringing up John Horst, because he is the reason that I so firmly believe that Giannis is not going anywhere. Once they extended John Horst, that told me that Giannis is in Milwaukee to stay, because Giannis and Horst are going to be tied to each other.
Yep.
The first time that the Bucks don't have Giannis, whether he's traded, he's retires, whatever happens, the first time that the Bucks have a really bad season after that, John Horst is gone.
Yep.
He'll be fired. Sorry.
He will.
Just like we'll have the conversation next week. Wouldn't shock me if after the Bucks meeting with Giannis, I believe it's happening like tomorrow.
I think it's tomorrow.
Wouldn't shock me if Doc Rivers is relieved of his duties.
We'll see.
It wouldn't shock me if they kept him either. Just going to throw that out there. Wouldn't shock me at all. From everything I've heard, Giannis likes Doc Rivers.
I think if Giannis stays, Doc stays.
Yeah. So that wouldn't shock me at all. We talked about it after the trade deadline. The Bucks, they looked better in a lot of ways.
They did.
So I'm not like putting a nail in the coffin for the Bucks if Doc Rivers isn't fired.
Dude, if we come away from this meeting with Giannis and he's just like, yeah, I want to stay in Milwaukee the rest of my career. Oh, dude, I hope that, and Jesus Christ, the friggin' ESPN Milwaukee brought up about getting rid of Giannis too. Don't let Milwaukee stunt your growth. Ugh. If Giannis stays for the entirety of his career, I hope that all Wisconsin outlets just dunk on ESPN, dude. Just dunk on
ESPN constantly.
Oh,
if I did not have a full-time job, I would be dunking on ESPN like all day, every day. And when this meeting comes out that says Giannis said he's invigorated by the meeting that he had with John Horst and Doc Rivers, and dude, I was thinking about this right before we started the show, that Giannis could come out of this meeting whenever it happens, whether it's tomorrow, Friday, whatever. He could come out of that meeting with a fucking contract extension.
He could, really, if he wanted to.
He might not be eligible until the new league year starts, but it's totally possible that the Bucks sell him on the fact that, like, hey, after this year, we can keep Dame for the following year. We could move Dame the following year. Like, you're 30. You can be here for another 8 years. You don't have to decide your future on this year or next year.
And you make the most money staying here. So that is the good thing about the new CBA is how it's set up for that.
Yeah. Is
homegrown talent stays with the homegrown team. That's a good thing. It's a really good start for the NBA.
Yeah. So it's all within the realm of possibility. I will acknowledge the fact that it is possible that Giannis could be traded, but like I said, it's strictly only for the fact that it's possible, not that the fact that I think it's going to happen.
I agree.
It's physically possible, but out of any team that I'm like, oh, this team's checking in, that people are saying online, that media is saying online, that ESPN is saying online, none of them have enough to acquire Giannis.
What we can get into that later, but I don't know what the Warriors have to trade. They're like, the Warriors have pieces. No, they don't.
No.
And I'm not taking fucking Draymond Green either. And also, Golden State's not trading Draymond Green.
No. And they're not trading Steph or Jimmy Butler. So if you're not giving me Steph or Jimmy, I'm not giving you Giannis.
Exactly.
Okay. So we can discuss the Bucks draft situation, because the two things that everybody's saying when they're saying Giannis should demand a trade, the Bucks have no money, the Bucks have no picks. That's literally not true either. So This is the Bucks draft situation for the next 7 years. Mm-hmm. This season, they don't have a first-round pick. It goes to the Nets. Their second-round pick goes to Cleveland, but they did get a second-round pick from Detroit in the Kuzma deal that the Warriors or the Wizards have. So the Bucks have a second-round pick this year. It's number 47. Mm-hmm. Next season, they have a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. It can be swapped by New Orleans, so they can't trade their 2026 first-round pick, but they have one. The Bucks get to make first-round pick in 2026. Mm-hmm. Their second-round pick either goes to the Knicks or Orlando, but the Bucks did get a second-round pick from Utah if it's after pick 55 that they got from San Antonio for Patrick Baldwin.
Yep.
2027, they don't have any picks. 2028, they have a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. But Portland and Washington have the right to swap with them. Mm-hmm. So they have a pick. It can just be swapped. Mm-hmm. And they don't have any second-rounders in 2027. Mm-hmm. 2029. Their first-round pick goes to either Portland or Washington. Their second-round pick goes to Detroit. So they don't have any picks in 2029. Mm-hmm. 2030, they have a first-round pick.
Yep.
They can swap firsts. Portland has the right to swap their first-round pick. And their second-round pick goes to Orlando. That was the pick that last 2 seasons ago. John Horst had no picks. He traded 2 future seconds to Orlando to get Andre Jackson Jr. So that's the other pick that we owe to Orlando. But 2026, 2028, 2030, the Bucks have first-round picks available.
Yep.
Now, 2031, completely normal.
Yep.
Bucks have their first and their second-round pick. They can trade those this summer.
Yep.
They did not have access to those if they stayed over the second apron. They would not have been able to trade those picks.
Thank you for your service, Chris, but we need to have a future.
We needed to get under the second apron.
Yep.
And I love Chris Middleton. His number's going to be in the rafters. I don't give a shit what you say. He is a top 5 Milwaukee Buck of all time. His number's going in the rafters. It's getting retired. It sad, but it needed to happen.
It did.
To give the Bucks flexibility this summer and next summer.
Yep.
So that's where we're at. People need to stop saying, we have no picks. We do. We just don't have access to trading some of our upcoming first rounders because other teams have the rights to swap in 2026, 2028, and 2030. They still have first round picks in 2031, 2032. Both of those years are completely normal.
Yep.
So Bucks can trade first rounder, second rounder from 2031 this summer. They can do 2-for-1 deals, something they were not able to do before they traded Chris Middleton. The Bucks, they have some options. They have a smidge of cap space. They have options here.
Yep.
So next week we're going to discuss roster construction and staff construction. Again, wouldn't shock me if Doc Rivers is back. It's going to then the staff construction piece then takes a little bit of a different perspective, where it's less about like who we want on the staff versus how we want the staff to operate.
Yeah.
So that's what that conversation is going to be like next week. And then the roster construction is going to be strictly how we would want to see John Horst build a roster around Giannis. And what we'd like to see them do kind of more as like a play style type scenario with that roster construction. Then the following week, that's when we're going to discuss transactions that we would like to see. Trades, signings, stuff like that. So
the free agency will be heating up at that point. So
yeah, yep. And that'll be June 4th, I believe, is that Wednesday. So
yep.
That's our upcoming Milwaukee Bucks offseason content when we're done with all of these 4 weeks. Last week was the Bucks aren't trading Giannis but segment. plus this week and the next 2 Wednesdays, that's going to comprise our entire Bucks off-season conversation. And if there's anything else that we need to discuss, we will add that. But we want to make sure that we're giving all the information on where the Bucks stand financially and where they stand with their draft picks, as well as giving our Brewers discussion. So that's that. Anything else you want to throw out there before we send it off?
If there's anything you guys want us to add, let us know as well. Comment on this video, send us a message, comment on one of our posts. We'll see it, we'll find it. So if there's anything you guys want us to talk about, let us know. Giannis isn't getting traded. We already talked about that. So, yeah, I'm excited for next week's episode.
Me too. Yeah. All righty. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, sticking around, and we will see you guys next week.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.